Hello and welcome to the Kitchen Table Theology podcast, where each week, Pastor Jeff Cranston explores biblical theology that provides practical life applications in an understandable way. Thanks for joining us at the table. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to Kitchen Table Theology. I am your host, Tiffany Coker. I'm here today with my dad, Pastor Jeff Cranston, and we are going to be introducing our new series that we are kicking off next Sunday. But for now, if you're listening with us currently as we are recording these, it is January of 2025. Thank you all for letting us take a few weeks off as we wrapped up the 2024 Christmas season and took a few weeks off to spend some time with our families. And Dad preached a few Christmas Eve services. But we are back at it. Here we go, January 2025. So Dad, tell us what is coming up next for Kitchen Table Theology.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for joining us back here again. We took quite a while off. I feel like it was really a nice break, I got to be honest. But
I think it was only 3 weeks.
No, it couldn't have been.
I think so.
That was only three.
I think it was 3 weeks.
If that was 3 weeks, they were the most crowded 3 weeks of my entire life. I could not even believe that. The last podcast was on December the 1st.
Oh, wow.
So
okay, so it was a long time.
It's been closer to 6 weeks. Yeah, but regardless, sorry to bore you all with that, Kitchen Table Theologian, but really glad to be back with you. Excited about the next season of podcasts here at Kitchen Table Theology. And so what we're going to be doing is something a little bit different. We're going to change the format a little bit, and I'm sure we'll at some point go back to what we've become more accustomed to. But we think, and after having talked to a number of you who listen, we're sensing a lot of interest in this particular topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what various denominations, Protestant denominations, believe. And we're going to do that in a way where we will talk to most likely a pastor or a denominational representative, where we'll do an interview with that individual and we'll learn some of the background and history of their denomination, and then drill down a little bit with them on their theological distinctives. Every denomination has theological distinctions. That's why there are many denominations.
Right.
But there are a lot of denominations out there. Tiff, you compiled a list.
I did. There was it was almost 2 pages of a Word document, I think. All the different denominations. And I only did in America. We're not going worldwide here. We're sticking with denominations in America.
We have listeners from over 40 nations.
Right.
And a good number in Canada. Hello, Canadians. And a good number in the UK. Hello to our British friends. But that said, the denominations in some way, shape, or form are also represented in a number of other countries.
Right.
You know, when we talk to Baptists, there's Baptists everywhere. Now, there's all kinds of different stripes of Baptists. And so I'm trying to determine, okay, how many Baptist groups do we talk to? Because there's a lot. We'll talk to Presbyterians and Episcopalians and Methodists and Anglicans and Baptists, of course. We'll talk to some non-denominational. I might interview myself when we get to the non-denominational thing. That would probably be the worst podcast of the whole series. But we think we'll probably run this out for a number of months because there are a lot. And we're going to see how it goes. And I know, Kitchen Table Theologian, you think we have our own Kitchen Table Theology studios, and we have this vast staff of people working here. I know you don't really think that, but it's just Tiffany and I, and we're just going to see how this goes. What I'm thinking right now is when I do the interviews, because of what we will talk about, and because I'm going to be talking primarily to pastors who sometimes you can't get us to shut up, that we may do each interview in 2 parts. And then Tiff and I will come back and we will do, in the following podcast, we will do a debrief. Okay, here's what we learned. Here's what they said.
Sort of summarize the main theological points for each denomination.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll kind of go that way.
I'm excited. I can't wait to learn. I feel like I am one of many people who probably has questions like, okay, I have a friend who, goes to the Presbyterian church. I have a friend at the Wesleyan church. We're all believers. What differs in our theology? I think that's a great question to answer.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to a Wesleyan representative for sure there too. Yeah. And, I think for a lot of us, you drive around wherever you live and you just see all these different churches and you go by, and every once in a while you just think and go, oh, I wonder what goes on. I was asked, wonder what goes on in there. I wonder what a Sunday morning is like. So I'll have a lot of these times. Hey, walk us through a Sunday morning service. What's it like? Is there kneeling and standing? Do you wear any kind of special clerical garb? What would somebody need to know who's a first time attender? To, what kind of music do y'all do, and talk to us about your education on how you train your people. And, but primarily then we want to get to the theological distinctions of it. So Lord willing, do you want to know who we're going to start with?
Oh, I would love to know. I probably need to call them and set it up.
Oh no, I'm way ahead of you on that.
Okay.
But yeah, and there's another thing, Kitchen Table Theologian, you could say a prayer for us because I don't know a lot of people in other denominations. So we're going to be cold calling people.
Some pastors.
Or I'll just work some kind of network and say, okay, who do you know in this denomination and so forth. But we're going to start with Southern Baptists.
All right. You were ordained Southern Baptist, is that right?
I am ordained Southern Baptist. It didn't take, but I am ordained Southern Baptist. Yes. I grew up, born and bred, raised Southern Baptist. Most of my ministerial friends are Southern Baptist pastors. And the reason we're going to start with them is they are by far the largest Protestant denomination in this country. They say they have a little over 13 million people who are part of the Southern Baptist, what they call a convention. So we'll start there. I won't say who because I'm talking that individual today. I'm 99.9% sure who we're going to talk to, but I need to verify that. So that's kind of where we're going. What else what might people want to know?
I think I'll just remind everyone that our email is pastorjeff@lowcountrycc.org. If you know your pastor would be interested in interviewing and you're a part of a denomination that we might not know, maybe shoot us an email, give us their contact information, and we can do some research there and maybe get them on here.
Yeah, we would appreciate that. A couple of people asked about, will you do the Catholic Church? I think maybe we'll get there, but we're going to start within Protestantism. Mm-hmm. And because there's so many stripes and so many forms, and that's true to some extent in the Catholic Church as well. But from the beginning here, as we get all this underway, we're going to start with Protestant churches. So,
and you can give us some history and background on how all of these came to be as well, because I'm sure years and years ago there weren't quite as many.
Yeah, I think, and that'll be part of the format as we begin this. I'll give a bit of a briefing, let's call it, on who these people are and so forth, and then we'll jump into the interview, and then we'll take it from there. So it's going to be fun. We're going into this a little blindly. We don't know, how this is going to go, but I think it's going to go fine, and I know that I'm going to learn a lot because there's a lot I just don't know. We all sort of stay in our own theological greenhouses and bubbles, and we don't, at least I don't, venture outside of them very often.
Right.
So I'm interested to meet new people and hear how they come to the Bible and what they're teaching as a denomination in their churches. And so Kitchen Table Theologian, we also hope that will be of interest to you, and it will make you more well-versed in the beliefs of a lot of people that you may know and work with or live down the street from, that sort of thing. I would also encourage you to take that Pastor Jeff at lowcountrycc.org email and just drop us a line. Podcasting is a weird thing for me. We know that you're out there, but we have no idea how many really, and we don't really know who you are. And sometimes we wonder, is anyone listening? But the statistics tell us that a good, healthy number of people are listening.
Yes.
And so we just surpassed 95,000 downloads over the holidays, which we are not only grateful for, but we are stunned by.
Yes.
And,
it continues to, even with our month off, I continue to get weekly email updates. It's anywhere between 300 and 500 listens a week.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yes, it's encouraging. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Pastor Jeff at lowcountrycc.org.
And while we're on this, and we're wrapping this up now, I want to give a shout out to Griffin. Griffin, how you doing, pal? Thank you for listening. I met Griffin. I didn't meet him for the first time. I saw Griffin at church on Sunday. He's 11. He comes up, Pastor Jeff, I'm listening to your podcast. He's listening through. And I said, buddy, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. He goes, you going to give me a shout out? I said, sure, I'll give you a shout out. So Griffin, welcome to the Kitchen Table Theology family, pal. And we're really glad that you're walking through this and that you're listening. So that's where we're headed. Next Sunday will be, Lord willing, the next podcast, I should say. They drop on Sundays, but the next podcast after this one, we'll be getting started with that. So we're excited about it and really are looking forward to where this is going to take us and what we're going to learn.
Awesome. Kitchen Table Theologians, we hope you have a great week, and we will see you back next week on Kitchen Table Theology. Thanks for joining us at the table.
You've been listening to the Kitchen Table Theology podcast with Pastor Jeff Cranston. Join us next time for more insights into biblical truth. If you'd like to know more on today's topic, please check out our show notes. If you have a question from today's podcast, kindly email us at pastorjeff@lowcountrycc.org. If you're enjoying this podcast, would you consider leaving a rating and review? We deeply appreciate your help in getting the word out. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or in your favorite podcasting app to continue this journey with us as we learn about and apply God's Word to our lives. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time here at Kitchen Table Theology.